Hi everyone, welcome to Trax Gaming, and today it's time for Inscription, which is the next profession in line. Now there's not much I can say about Inscription, so that was it for the that was not it for the video. For Inscription, when you learn Inscription, you will get a lot of old stuff included, because Inscription just came around during Wrath of the Lich King, so you get a lot of stuff in Classic, Vanilla, and you get a lot of stuff in Outland. Well, not a lot of stuff, but there's not so much you could do. See, I just need to pick up some stuff from Northrend, Cataclysm, Pandaria, some stuff from Draenor, some Legion, especially Glyphs. Mist is collecting all of those, and Zandalari. Miss is our main scribe. This character is still on the old server from the earlier episodes, so some values that I'm going to show you are a little bit off. So this one is going to be transferred within the next couple of days. So this will mainly be for legacy crafting, except I'm not going to include the glyphs for myself. But that's not the info you wanted for this video. You wanted something else. So for the setup for Inscription, it's quite easy. We are going to tackle two major points, because those are two great money makers for Inscription. That is everything related for BfA, and also to craft glyphs from Legion. Those are the two main gold makers. I know that that you can make, like, where is it the Draenor Tomes of the Clear Mind. They still have a sale rate of 0.11. I could probably do that, but region sale region market value is quite high. This was something I wasn't expected, and this server that I'm on is literally dead because there's only one on the auction house at the moment. But we are going to see glyphs and then the stuff from BfA, how you can price this correctly. Well, if you are watching, you probably have my TSM profile, so that means if I'm gonna look into Inscription, you see everything is in subgroups. Don't forget, I told that in the first video of revealing this thing, that you can alter the crafting and the auctionings. So if you want to sell more contracts, make more contracts. You want scrolls in different kind of stacks or more stacks, like Tomes of the Quiet Mind, do so. The glyphs itself, you can select this to craft 5 and then just stock up on all those things. You can clear away the inks. You don't have to use that if you don't want to. So you can remove that, or don't select when you restock. The offense as well. If you want to sell a lot of notorious stuff, just add a group by pressing this plus. Select the notorious stuff. This will be displayed here if you select the subgroup, and then add with this little button down here. If you ever want to remove an item from the group, but from a subgroup, but not from the entire group, hold down Shift. See, the tooltip says it's hold Shift to move the items to the parents group, and don't remove it from the profile. Yeah, instead of removing them. Okay, so I'm gonna open up the TSM window. For this server, you will see a lot of profit. It might be that it isn't on your server, okay? What I see now, I can see a lot of green priced inks. I altered the material cost. So yes, I cracked the Inscription code. So I think I cracked it. So I have an entire list. I'm gonna include this in the video description below. So Maroon Pigment, this is just a baseline formula, and this item ID is for Zinantide. This item ID for Viridescent Pigment, Crimson Pigment, and Ultramarine Pigment is the one from Riverbud. On the server that we are on now, that we are continuing doing the Let's Goldcap challenge, Riverbud is commonly the most cheap herb on the auction house. If you say on my server that will be Sea Stalk or Akunda's Bite, on this server this is literally dead. I don't get the display offhands because there are actually none listed on the auction house for I don't know for how long. It's been a while since I've been here. So it's not sending back DBMarket data, and because this item is sold on DBMarket values, the Trax min value, I'm not getting any prices in return. So if any herb, common herb, is by far every time the cheapest one, replace the item ID with the herb you want to use for inscription. If you really just want to use every time the cheapest herb on your auction house, yeah, change it every time again. I don't mind if you say this is gonna save me like 10 gold for every 100 herbs that I buy in the formula, because the items will also be priced according to the herb price. So if there is a big difference, do change it. How does it work? Maroon Pigment. TSM now is going to determine the price cost according to what is the cheapest. The lowest item on the auction house, or an average between the cheapest herb and the 90% herb. So I'm going to display this by going to the auction house, because sometimes there's only one person who undercuts everyone. So you go to herbs, you run the shopping scan, you see all of the herbs pop up. So on this server, Winter's Kiss is cheaper than Riverbud, but I'm not gonna change it because this character is going with me to the other server. So what it's going to do, it's going to get the average of up till 90% to the cheapest one. So it will be somewhere in between. And if I look at somewhere in between here, I will get all these big stacks. The price will be for all of these big stacks for Riverbud. So if I look at Viridescent Pigment, it's using it, and out of 100 herbs, so 5 mass mills, you will get 8 Viridescent Pigments, 27 Crimson Pigments, and 65 Ultramarine Pigments. I rounded up these numbers. I know there is a big excess material on Ultramarine stuff and a little bit more on Viridescent. There's a huge shortage on Crimson Pigments. So the chance that the formula is using the herb part for Ultramarine is very slim. Even for Viridescent Pigment, unless you have a very healthy economy. That could be the case. For the inks, this will be just minimum crafting vendor buy. So it's going to determine the cost here for the pigment, and if it chooses DB minimum buyout, it's going to put in DB minimum buyout, and it's going to add the price of what's it called, the acacia thing, to create the ink, or distilled water, sorry. For Sallow Pigment, we have kind of the similar one, but everyone is really using Dreamleaf, so I just went for Dreamleaf. If you want to use another herb, just do it. I selected Dreamleaf because it's very easy to farm in Chalanear in Legion. When you fly around, what's it called? I think Velshara? And then Chalanear will be your place to be, just in front of the dungeon Emerald Nightmare. So I'm gonna show this at work. So these numbers that you are going to receive, those are rounded up. I think the actual number here for Roseate Pigment is 80.2. I think the actual number for Viridescent Pigment was 8.1. Crimson Pigment 26.9. Ultramarine Pigment 65.7. It was something like that. So if we lower the items received, that means we also create a little bit of a safe zone. So this one is using Riverbud somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna do this one more time. So it's gonna go with the cheapest one in comparison to the one listed at 90%. So Riverbud is by far the cheapest, and it will display halfway this. And we get a lot of stacks here. So it's going to create the formula more expensive than what we see here. And we are by far the cheapest on everything. I know this server is a little bit messed up, but you're gonna see why. So with putting the formulas into your operation, so these 4 are for BfA, 5 actually, all 4 inks should have this one, and this is for Legion. So if they all have this formula, that means it will be displayed here. So Ultramarine ink is displayed in red. Why? Because the ink is cheaper than the pigment. So that means we are not going to create it. If the pigment is cheaper than the ink, you should be creating inks, and this will be displayed as profit. So Maroon ink right now, if I hover over Maroon Pigment and I see in my tooltip almost at the bottom TSM crafting material cost, it's 46 gold. If I'm going to make this using milling of Zinanti that I bought between minimum buyout and 90% DBMarket. The ink right now is on the auction house for 81 gold, but you can see it's 9 auctions. It's a perfect example for a dead server, but the market value is 49. The Maroon Pigment is created for 46. So if you want to go with 3 gold profit for every ink you make, you are going to mill the damn Riverbud in this case. But if you have to make a lot, it's going to add up very quickly. So distilled water is in here as well. Material cost is 10 silver. If I go to crafting reports, materials, I select Inscription, and I check the one I altered. We have acacia powder, that was what I meant. Distilled water, and normally there should be light parchment as well, but I think that one is priced correctly. I have to display all. So this one is displayed correctly, but I do like to add this just manually, so they will show up on my screen. And here they are, all of them. So if we look at pigment tooltip, 21 gold, and it's up for 22 gold market value on the auction house. And Viridescent ink is 27 minimum buyout, but as you can see, market value is 2 gold 15. So if you see this, if you see in the first screen the ones that are red, no profit, and you need those, go buy those. We can make so much cheap stuff right now just by adding this. Look at all those profit margins. I don't know how expensive the War Scroll of Fortitude is. 98 gold. Intellect 147. Now we're not gonna see Scroll of Unlocking. 116. Do note this is all dependent on the herb cost. So as you saw in the example, if you can buy Riverbud for 3 gold, that means you can make the War Scrolls for around 80 gold, which is good, very good. On the trinkets, we're gonna see a lot of profit. Why? Because this is a crazy server, and the price is 14,000 gold. But look at my crafting cost, it's just over 2,000 gold. So even if your trinkets are selling on your server for 4,000 gold, you can make profit this way. What you can also do, I'm gonna show this one time only. This is for my gathering friends, or for all of my farmer friends who like to farm the herbs and do something with it. Let's go to Inscription, custom prices. Just gonna open one pigment. You are going to change the 90% DBMarket to 70% DBMarket. And I'm gonna tell you why you should do this. And I can bring in an example why. Settings, custom sources, Mats minimum, lowest price to sell, 70% DBMarket. If you bring it lower, you are better off selling raw mats on the auction house instead of converting these into pigments. That's what you'll have to do. If these are below 70% DBMarket, so let's say you type it in and you are going to crafting and this is all red, sell your herbs. Don't put them in Inscription. If you sell them for 70% and these will end up all red, that means the ink on the auction house is cheaper than what you can make using this formula, and you're actually not getting the gold that's worth your time to farm. So with that said, pump in those formulas, choose which one you're going to use. No, not Zinanthite. And on purpose, I did not include anchor weed, obviously. So choose the one that's the cheapest one, put it in there. Look on the Undermine journal, on the historical data, which one has been the cheapest for the past few months. Drag it in there, post it, alter it, and then make profit out of it. If we are going to look at Legion, I changed those numbers. I could pump in the default and see what that says. I'm probably still going to make profit. Let's try this just for once. Let me pick up, yeah, just that one. That is not the normal one. This is the default. So I'm going to materials, Inscription. I'm going for price source, custom price. I'm going to see Roseate Pigment. Let's put in the normal one here. Enter. Sallow Pigment. Let's go put in the normal one here. I think those are more expensive than before. I'm not sure. We see a red one, but also lower values. We see lower values. So let's see. 900, 900, 1100, 600, 700, 2000. Remember that, please. So I'm going back to get these. So Sallow Pigment. Put Sallow Pigment in there. I'm not using Fellworth because Fellworth are getting more expensive. See, that went from 40 gold to 26. And now Roseate. Roseate Pigment. Let's get that one. Pump it in here. Close. Go to crafting. Scroll down for Legion. Almost 1.5, 1.2, 1.5, 1.1, 1, 2.5, 1.1. There's nothing in the first that goes below 1,000 gold. So that is very good profit. You're gonna get worth what you, not what you want, but what you deserve for using my profile. Yes. Okay. Just a few things. Let's go over some few things. Let's go in. We're gonna round up this video. You got the older glyphs on a lot of servers. Those are not worth a lot, except for when you don't have them beforehand and you have to do something for it. So this is a drop from world creatures. This is higher than most of the other glyphs, unless a lot of people have those on your server and you completely, yeah, you know. I gotta say, I don't have a lot of Draenor stuff, but I do sold the Shadow Tome a few times before. I just like the offhands. I like the books that are in here. Twilight Tome, yeah, that's the green one. I like this, but right now on the auction house it's up for 150 gold. But region market average is almost 6,000 gold. So these are easy things to do. So this is Nordrand, the one for Draenor, Shadow Tome, this character. I only sold one since we started the Let's Goldcap challenge, because that's when my account got cleared. But right now, even region market is 3.5 thousand gold. Crafting cost is 357 gold. So just some war paints, daily cooldowns. You can drop in any herb from, I think it's any herb, or it's frost thing, flower. Oh my god, my brain. I think you will have to use frostweed. Like in the tailoring video, if you have to do the building queue for Inscription, do the mine, do the herb garden. There you get your herbs for completely free. If you have your followers up to date, almost to completion, do the order resources. You can buy sumptuous fur from a trading post there and send them over to your tailor. You can get the pets. You can still get the medallions of the Legion, which go on the majority of the servers for at least around 10,000 gold. I wanted to say 1,000 gold, but hey, gold is gold, right? So do the cooldowns from your garrison. If you don't have it completely maxed out and you can do like 18 work orders, calculate what you need in a week. And if you find cheap on the auction house, buy them, put them in the personal bank of that character, and just run around there, click, 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 done. You can also include that in a shopping group. If you go to Warlords or Draenor, let's say you need Frostweave, make a subgroup, call it Frostweave, drop it in there, go to group operations, make a shopping one, and if it requires you 500 items, go to the operations, go to shopping operations. Here, I have one for 400. If you need 500, copy this, put in 500, select it on the group where you need that kind of material on. And you know when you scan it that it will stop showing you. Even if you click all groups, it will stop showing you as soon as you reach that 500 item mark. So for BfA, that was the crucial part, getting the prices right. That was the most important thing of all Inscription that I needed to do. And now you can profit from that. So pick a herb, put it in there, make sure all inks, so Maroon Ink, Viridescent Ink, Crimson Ink, and Ultramarine Ink have this one. Drop in these for the pigments, drop in these for the Legion Pigments, those two. Don't forget to pick the herb. And what you can also do is when you go to price stuff, don't forget how you call it, how you pronounce that, and price the powder, price the distilled water, and price the parchments. If you don't do this manually and you didn't open the vendor, it's going to select a price on the auction house. And right now the powder on the auction house for me is 190 gold. So if I didn't price this by opening the vendor with a TSM vendor screen on, it will mess up my prices. If you do it for light parchments, 6 gold 85. This is 3 copper, and distilled water 12 gold instead of 10 silver. So do it, please. It's in your own benefit. So that was it for the video. I hope you are ready to finally profit from Inscription if you haven't done so, and if you were doing so, to even make more profit from Inscription. And if you do not make profit this way, that means you need to dump the herbs on the auction house and get some sales from raw materials. So thank you all for watching. Do enjoy the formulas. Have fun making all that gold. And I will see you in another episode. Bye bye.